We work hard as physicians to take care of the health and well-being of our patients. But when it comes to our money, do we have the same condition of care? Probably not. Let's change that together. Welcome to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast, where we'll fight and advocate for your financial literacy. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. Thanks for being here. Let's jump into the show. Hey guys, I want to welcome you guys to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. We've got a great episode this week. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notifications bell, and be sure to like, comment, and share if you like this episode, and we'll get into this week's sponsor and show. Today's episode is sponsored by Dr. Heather Fork of Doctors Crossing. Dr. Heather Fork is a retired dermatologist based out of Austin, Texas, and she is a career coach and strategist and the founder of the Doctors Crossing. She's come out with this new course called LinkedIn Networking for Physicians. The significance of this course is that in today's hyper-competitive, hyper-dynamic, ever-changing economy, success is all about information, speed, access, networks, and execution speed. So part of your success in today's economy relies on a strong network of collaborators, partners, and acquaintances who can help you accomplish your goals a lot faster and more efficiently. If you're operating under the mantra of doing it alone or doing it all by yourself, there are better, faster, easier, and more efficient ways to get things done today. You can save a lot of time, energy, and money by learning how to leverage social media to network online. Dr. Heather Fork's course is a brand new course designed to teach you step-by-step how to efficiently network using online LinkedIn social media networking tools, tactics, and strategies. She's been a pioneer in the field of physician counseling, physician burnout, career transitions, and physician coaching. Her course is a 6-module course with 22 videos where you can learn at your own pace, on demand, and teach you how to strategically use LinkedIn to your advantage. It also has a bonus PDF guide, how to rock your informational interviews. So if you're interested, you can check out the course in the link in the show notes below. As a special bonus, you can also check out Dr. Fork's Carpe Diem resume kit that when purchased with the LinkedIn course, you get a 23% discount. Or if you want to purchase separately, you can click on the link in the show notes below as well. Thanks for listening, and on to the show. Welcome everybody to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And my mission is to empower physicians to achieve financial independence and financial freedom early on so that they can practice medicine on their own terms as opposed to having to practice. So I tout 4 types of freedom. The first is financial, second is emotional, time, and location freedom. And my mission is to bring guests that are doing innovative, creative things outside the box and to show you what's possible so that you can design your best life in your business, finance, career, family, and relationships. So without much ado, we'll bring on this week's guest. So welcome everybody to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, my mission is to bring you the people, resources, all of the new exciting ideas, insights, cutting edge technology so that you can make the best informed decision about your finances so that you can live your best life. And I'm always helping physicians launch their brands and platforms today. So today we have Dr. Ketan Kulkarni, he is a very special guest. He's actually a collaborator with one of my former clients. And, he's done a lot of work. He's a physician, researcher. He's also an entrepreneur at heart. He's based out of Canada. And he's done a lot of writing. He's published works at the national, international level. But what his passion is that he is trying to help physicians achieve career fulfillment and success. So oftentimes that's outside of the academic world, and we have to go into areas such as burnout, psychology, finances, relationships, etc. So he's He's completed his coaching certification. He's now a coach. He's also created a course, and he's writing he's working on a book as well. It just is going to come out soon, and as well as he's collaborating on a podcast. So he's up and coming, and he's doing a lot of interesting stuff. So I'm happy to help my platform elevate his. So without much ado, Ketan, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. I think it's really a kind introduction, and I've been a big admirer of your work, and you've helped a lot of people, a lot of physicians, not only with your inspiring journey, but also you freely sharing resources that you have. So I think it's a true demonstration of growth mindset. So I feel very honored to be on your podcast, and I think that was a very kind introduction. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. And like I said, I boil it down to 4 types of freedom. The first is financial freedom. Second is emotional, time, and location freedom. And so you are doing a lot of interesting things. So tell us about your journey and your work and where it's led to you today, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great question. So, I started like any other physician, aspiring to do excellent clinical work, and then slowly developed interest in research. And it took me about 14 years to start my first full-time attending job. And then as I started it, I worked extra hard, like all of us, to try and get my clinical practice established, start my research program, start getting into administrative committees. And over the next 5 or 6 years, all of that became very successful. I was able to get my first academic promotion in 5 years. I'm well published academically with over 100 papers, and everything went well. But then suddenly, at the same time, I started finding out that I wasn't feeling that fulfilled and happy. And I started questioning whether the academic track is going to be, successful and fulfilling in the long run. So I started looking out to other people and found that a lot of other people at all stages of careers, in all specialties, even, outside of medicine, in law, in accounting, and, even in entrepreneurship, people were rampantly burnt out and just unfulfilled, and thus I figured that, if I continued on this same journey, I'm going to probably end up there. We are no smarter or less smart than anybody else. So if we just kind of didn't learn and take the time to figure out what it truly means to be successful and fulfilled, we are only going to end up where other people are, that is disgruntled. So, in parallel to sort of my academic journey, I started doing a lot of leadership training, and I was fortunate to find a lot of different funding pots to help me with that leadership training. So that went on for 2 to 3 years. And then I slowly got exposed to coaching. And early last year, I got my coaching certification. So I've been sort of developing coaching on the side. Similarly, I was always an entrepreneur at heart, and I probably realized that late in my medical training. And I had to park most of my passions and interests, like most of us, during intensive training. So as the attending job started unfolding, I also was able to slowly rekindle all my passions. And, I explored a bunch of different entrepreneurial enterprises and really started connecting with people within and outside of medicine who had a similar mindset. So, thus started many, successes and failures. And slowly I started developing sort of my own entrepreneurial enterprise. And right now we are sort of working on active real estate and some passive investments. I run an art gallery, and I'm really able to connect a lot of people in different fields. And I think that's very enriching as an experience. So, with all of these things going simultaneously and with a growing family, I really felt the need to connect with other people, other physician entrepreneurs, other physician researchers, media people, physician real estate people like yourself, and physician coaches. So I really thought that, if I can connect with my own tribe, it's only going to help everybody. And that's why I was thanking you at the beginning that, there's a lot of people out there who are phenomenally successful, and they're very open-heartedly willing to share their resources. And I hope and aspire to be one of them in future, that, we have open doors and really try to bring up our tribe. And hopefully we can, as a secondary endpoint, battle the burnout and the epidemic of stress and distress that exists in the physician world for many, many reasons. I'm sure that's been talked about on a million different platforms. So that's the long story short. So, I've been right now, I'm still sort of working on my academic practice. It's been busier than ever before, but without the burnout, because I'm sort of more intentionally doing things I really want to do more and more each day. I still have a very busy research program, but I'm also working on my entrepreneurial journey, developing my real estate, enjoying my art collection and art gallery as a hobby and a business, and then also working on my coaching, and then doing the book, doing the podcast. And I'm very thankful for you letting me share my journey here.
That's a great introduction, and the way I see a lot of physicians and clients' journeys is that they usually have a lot of interests, such as yourself, and they try their hand in a lot of different things and do a lot of hobbies, and eventually they come up with their primary purpose and goal and mission. So it's great to see your journey from academia and then how you're connecting the dots, all of your passions, interests, your skill sets, and now you're starting to move into helping and coach physicians. So I love that, and keep it up. So, a lot of physicians are in your journey, they right before they hit burnout. And how do you recognize it that you have burnout, or you need to take some time away or do something different?
Yeah, I mean, can I quickly go back to something you mentioned just before, and I think that might lead us into burnout. So I think you said something about really finding your why. I think that was a big thing. I think as physicians, as subspecialists or super specialists, whatever you want to call it, we are often told what our why is. That's care for the patients, do your research, do academia, promotions, blah blah blah. Home, cars, yacht, plane, whatever you want. But really, I don't think there is a lot of awareness around truly connecting with your why. So I think that really helped me. When I figured out that my why is to identify my best version and live my best self, and also help others do exactly the same, things became far more clear. So I think in my experience, when I went through burnout 2017, 2018, which I now recognize as burnout, I was noticing that despite having what they call academic success, despite having your first good home or first permanent home, the one or two nice cars, kids and growing family and supportive spouse, and the so-called societal definition of success, there was still the feeling of visceral discontent. There was still this feeling of something being missing. There was still the feeling of, okay, what's next? Still the feeling of having the goalpost moving, that, okay, I just published a paper in, Lancet Oncology. Well, so what? When am I going to have the second one? Something like that. There was still that feeling of emptiness or exhaustion or, distress that existed despite what, other people would call as a lot of success. So I think we have to be very sort of cognizant and aware of recognizing those things, and I also feel that a lot of physicians still shy away from talking about potential burnout or potential distress, because it's very cultural in medicine, right? We are expected to put up with the challenges. We are expected to jump through the hurdles. You're expected to do the best for your patients. And, you have to sort of park all your other things on the side. And, I'm sure you've experienced similar things in the past as well. So I think it's if we are going to truly battle the burnout, then it's going to require systemic change and a culture shift, which is difficult, right? So I think our first job would have to be to look deep inside and really figure out who we are, what is it that we want, what are our true core values, what is our mission, what is our why, and then, we can hopefully connect more and more people, and physicians can connect, and then collectively, a system change, culture shift might happen. That's at least the way I see it now.
Yeah. You said I think you're describing, you're moving from a just very narrow, limited, path, and now you're looking into like more meaning and more depth into, what we're doing and trying to create an impact, as opposed to, just very narrowly defined definition. So I love that. Now let's talk a little bit, you talked about the culture, especially the medical culture, the hustle, and, all the trappings of success. And let's go into more of how physicians, you started, you published a lot of papers, and now now you're writing your book. So a lot of physicians, they're at a point in their journey, they're like, they hate their work, but they don't see any options. But you're a good example. So tell us more about that.
So you mean like the shift from doing just academic work to academic work plus other things?
Yeah, how easily translatable like your skills and your experience is into other endeavors.
Oh, okay. I see the question now. I think you're 100% right on that one. For the longest period of time, I truly, truly
Uh-huh.
believed that as a physician, I was only capable of being a physician.
Uh-huh.
And that mindset was, now I realize that that was a very wrong and narrow mindset. As
Uh-huh.
many others, I could name 100 people in next 2 minutes who have shown, excluding myself, who have shown way better than maybe I currently have. That's completely untrue, right? I mean, physicians are capable of being excellent physicians. They're equally capable of being anything else under the sun that they want. So I think that what it's going to take is really that shift in the mindset, that grit and that interest and the determination and the ability to walk from that point A of being the limited self, to the point B of being the illuminated self, if we want to call it that. And a lot of this is also the central focus of our book, if I may mention that for a second, that I've always been interested, and so is Francis Yu, in a lot of different fields, including sort of ancient wisdom and Asian philosophy and ancient Sanskrit texts, or modern physics, modern mathematics, quantum physics, psychology, evolutionary biology, and quantum biology, so on and so forth. So we tried to sort of, for lack of a better term, present our perspective and understanding of what could be very applicable sort of models to modern life and modern medicine that could lead us to fulfilling lives. And a lot of it walks through applying wisdom from all of these different fields to our modern lives. So
Uh-huh.
I'm nowhere saying that I've already shifted my mindset. I go through my thick and thin, and go through the peaks and the troughs. But certainly with all the friends, colleagues, coaches, mentors like yourself and others, it's easier, faster, effective, and efficient to bounce back and keep on track. So I think the first thing that I feel is going to be needed is that shift in mindset. We truly have to trust that we are capable of being, achieving, deserving what we truly want.
Yeah.
I've found so many times that if I'm trying to coach or talk to somebody about investments, or how do you do sort of a good stock portfolio, most of the times people are in denial. Oh my gosh, I can't do that. It just takes too much time. Oh, I'm not a risk taker. Oh, I'm not this and that. So I think these are reflex answers, right? I mean, a lot of people don't even know what kind of risk they're taking, right? I mean, people are truly sort of deeply involved in thinking that, oh, higher risk means higher return. I don't want to take any risk. I'm happy with the 5% return. Okay, I'm just happy with getting the basic retirement, and so on and so forth. So I think we've somehow acquired this limited mindset that, oh no, I got to be 24/7 at my job, everything else is secondary. I can't do anything else. Entrepreneurship is not for me. There's the lucky few. Maybe, it's very common in Canada to say, oh, well, US is very different. They're capitalistic, they're big, they can do whatever they want. It's not going to happen in Canada. It's funny that, most people don't realize that per capita for the population, there's more multimillionaires in Canada than US.
Uh-huh.
So it's only a myth that people think. I mean, money is a tangible asset. That's why I'm using a monetary example. But I think that it is a mindset shift, and more awareness into all of these things. And the more come up with their stories, the better it's going to be. Like, I think Naveen Goyal just recently published one of his books, and he really outlines this exact thing that, he interviewed a range of physicians who have been successful in other things outside of medicine, including medicine. And fortunately, he also interviewed me. And I think it's a very inspiring book. It shows beyond doubt that people are capable of a lot and a lot more. He himself transitioned from anesthesia to full-time venture cap,
Uh-huh.
which is a very inspiring story.
Yeah, Naveen, he has a very interesting story from
Yeah.
anesthesia, into what he's doing. And I love how physicians are just, they're going into new things, and then they're going in with, curiosity and just open mind, and just exploring things and trying new things, and, learning. So I love that growth mindset. I know a lot of clients would be interested in, coaching, especially coaching. And tell us more about how you can get into coaching, and some of the benefits of coaching, both tangible, for the client and yourself.
Yeah, I was first introduced to coaching in the formal way we understand it now probably about 2 or so years ago. Before that, it was all around mentorship. And, I really did not get a lot of the answers I was looking for through mentorship. But then coaching really opened a lot of doors. And I think a lot of coaching concepts come from business and sports, so I think that really goes around. The way I see it is to understand yourself, understand the way you're thinking, understand the way you're processing, and then optimize your performance and output. So, we could talk so much about coaching. A lot of people tend to think coaching models are linear. Like, one of the popular models lately is from the life coach school, that you go from sort of, facts to thinking to feeling to your actions and then results. I mean, that's one way of coaching. I think there's so many different ways of coaching that can be adapted to the person who needs help. I think, whatever somebody needs help with, there are so many different ways in which you could coach. You could coach emotionally, you could coach based on thoughts, you could coach based on awareness, you could use cognitive behavioral therapy, you could use visualization techniques, you could use, the resolution of restrictive emotions and feelings, you could use, action-oriented coaching, you could use SMART goals. So I think there's so many different varieties. I think it's a huge upcoming field. And if applied properly, I think it can start moving the needle immediately. So going back to our book, which is hopefully coming soon, it's very topical. We do talk about sort of a more broad approach to optimizing human performance. And Francis and I were able to come up with a very broad model based on the number of fields I was trying to mention before, that would be applicable to pretty much all of us in any given situation. And our hope is that, that model can be widely applied by people immediately to their lives and start moving their needle in a big way, right? I mean, there's a lot of hacks and, biohacking and mental hacking and this and that, or habit formation. But a lot of times people tend to sort of fall back to their initial self, so we've tried to sort of address many of those concerns using a more broad model, which incorporates a variety of different types, or easily could incorporate a variety of different types of coaching. So I think coaching is quite exciting because it really puts the responsibility, the onus on the person. I think that's why I think it's so powerful that, if I suddenly say, oh, well, the New York market is hot, there's no real estate deals to be found. Well, mentorship would say, okay, well, go do something else, this and that. Coaching would say, well, wait a minute, is that truly correct? Do you think your mindset is correct in that, or you're just trying to make an excuse? Is that a limiting belief? So I think it changes everything right in that instant, that, it makes us realize that we are ultimately responsible for who we are and what we are going to become. So I think that's where the power is, right? I mean, a coaching done by a right coach can really catapult our success, right? It can rapidly escalate our success. I've been coached myself by a number of people, and many times you're just blown away. I've had coaching sessions where you could barely sleep for 2 days because they really challenged your limiting beliefs. I mean, they did. It's happened to me that, they really get at you and like, you just destroyed me in a good way, like something completely dismantled before it's joined again. So I think it's a powerful tool, and we should definitely look at it broadly. And it's very applicable in our medical world, I think, because I think it's just practice of medicine is such a complicated field in itself that, even when we are practicing, we are still humans. We are dealing with complex systems. There's a lot of internal conflicts going on all the time. There's administrative politics, there's the academic politics, there's all these, complicated strata that happen. There's the hospital politics. I mean, I'm not using politics in a good or bad way. I'm just saying the word for its value. There's the complexity of interactions. And, coaching can equip with us with this heightened level of awareness, a heightened level of understanding, improved communication, and sort of facilitate our performance so that we can really become our true best selves, right? I mean, people hopefully, if they apply coaching appropriately, can sort of come back from that limited mindset and sort of have this broad perspective that they can be excellent physicians and whatever XYZ they want to become.
Yeah. That's you. You said it so eloquently, and you're such a great speaker. So I know a lot of clients would be interested in following you, learning about you. So where can they get in contact with you? You've got your course, your website, as well as any parting words of wisdom.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that feedback. I really appreciate it. Public speaking has been one of my passions, and now I enjoy it on a different level, through these discussions and interviews. So, I think the easiest way to find me is, fortunately, there's not too many people with my name. So you can simply email me at my first name followed by P as in Paris, followed by last name at gmail.com. So ketanpkulkarni at gmail.com. And the other way is to find me on Facebook. As many of you may be aware, I run the Savvy Physician group. So I'm on that. And then Francis, you and I often post a number of different things. So, you can find me through Savvy Physician or email. And my personal website is called savvyphysician.ca. So I think those would be the easiest ways to reach me. And I check my email very frequently. So feel free to connect anytime.
Yes. Yeah. I know Ketan, he responds very quickly. So we'll be sure to include all of the links and all the show notes and all the resources in there. And thanks so much. I think you're on the cusp, and you're getting your name out there. And I'm really happy to help you, grow. And it'll be great to see you and Francis grow, over next year or two. So, and we hope to have you on the podcast as a future guest so we can see what you've been up to.
Yeah, thank you again, Chris. I think this has been a great chat, and I really, really appreciate the support and the kind words of wisdom that you've shared as well. I think there's so many who have been through this journey, so many who are going to be through this journey. I think all of this help and growth mindset is so needed.
You said it perfectly. Well, I hope you really enjoyed that fantastic episode with our special guest this week. Just remember, as a shout out to this week's sponsor, Dr. Heather Fork, MD of the Doctor's Crossing, who has come out with her new online course devoted to teaching you how to leverage social media to network online effectively for your next job, your career, or as a side income. Again, social media is very valuable in today's society. It can be used for marketing, advertising, selling, communication with your followers, growing your brand, influence, followers, as well as networking. So don't miss out. It's really important in today's age to really leverage technology, especially in the COVID age. So go to the link in the show notes below, and we'll see you back next week. I'm excited that you made it for another episode. You are truly the best. If you've been following the show for a while, you know that my passion is to bring you the education you need to find your path to financial freedom. Please come back week after week for new content, new resources, and great guests. Until then, if you haven't already, please be sure to check out the website, www.drchrislumdphd.com for more support. I'll see you next week.